Welcome back to the C-Space studio here at CES 2025. My name is James Kotecki, and we are live on X. And we are here with the global head of marketing of X, Angela Zepeda. Thank you so much for joining us right now.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, X. It's a very well-known, much talked about brand. You're the global head of marketing. What is your definition of the brand? What does X mean heading into 2025?
Well, for us, it really is this platform where everything in culture, you need to come and check it out on X. So everything from politics to news to sports to what's happening in entertainment. If you want to know what's happening, just not in that forum, but what people are saying about it, you got to come to X to find out. So, you know, it's all about checking it out on X.
And what brings you here to CES 2025 in terms of what your messages are to folks?
So our message is really a couple of things we try to get done here at CES. We try to find out what's really happening in technology and innovation. Of course, we're a tech platform, so we need to know what's happening there. We're also in partnership with XAI, leaders in AI. We want to know what's happening there. We're part of that. But also speaking to our advertisers as well, and how we also are going to partner with them. So we're having a lot of dialogue on that front. So we get a lot done here at CES.
And what's your message to the advertisers, and how are those conversations going this week?
They're going great. We had a great 2024. We're expecting an even better 2025. You know, about 90% of our top 100 advertisers are back on the platform. So we're expecting a lot more momentum. We really did have a fantastic year, and we really expect a lot more momentum with a lot of innovation coming to fruition, coming in the first quarter alone. So there's a lot of excitement happening.
And not to be too navel-gazing, but I imagine live events like this are continuing to be a big part of what's going on the platform.
Absolutely.
Too.
This is where it's all about, is anything that's really happening in the now is where our platform really shows up really strongly. So where there are live events, you can see it streaming live on X, and this is exactly what's happening, in fact, here at CES.
Let's talk accessibility, however you define that. What does it mean to be accessible, and what are you doing to be accessible to folks?
For us, it's about kind of the vision of when Elon actually bought the app, which was redefining what it was from before, which really was a limited character text-based app. It's not that anymore. It really is about being the everything app, being everything to everyone, and we're starting to realize that vision now, where anything you want to do, it ultimately can happen on the platform. So everything from full video tab to X Money to X Hiring, all these things are coming to fruition. So that really makes it a very accessible app, and it's really exciting, and all that innovation is coming very quickly.
Yeah, we're seeing shows. Am I right about that? We're seeing shows be launched on X as like an X first show. Is that right? Absolutely.
In fact, launching today on the platform is Chloe in Wonderland, which is a new video. Well, it's podcast as well, Khloe Kardashian. Her original podcast series is actually launching today. We actually had Alexis Ohanian and Midge Purse. They did the off-season in the fall. This is all original content that is just on our platform, and that will continue to grow into 2025 as well.
Well, it's hard for me to compete with that, but I'm going to do my best.
You're doing great.
How is 2025 then? So 2024 was a good year, as you're saying. 2025 new shows. How else does 2025 look kind of fundamentally different for X?
You know, I think it's just the transformation, I think, of where everything is going. There was a lot of things that happened just in our world. The election had a lot to do with it, with just the change where people were getting their information. You know, people had an opportunity to get their voice out on social media, and I think there was just a huge transformational change in where people were getting their information, and I think that's really what is a lot different, that people's voices and having their voice be the media is where I think we see a lot of change happening, and I think that's what we'll see moving forward and even exponentially happening. Meta made their huge announcement yesterday with them taking where we led 2 years ago in community notes, and we find that really exciting.
Well, speaking of voices, audio content is also a big part of the platform. So tell me about how you're positioning yourself there.
Yeah, we continue to grow in that area too. Like I mentioned, the Chloe in Wonderland podcast is launching today, and we'll continue to grow in that area as well. People are searching out all kinds of content, whether it's video or audio, and our originals team is helping to build that out.
And live conversations too, right?
Absolutely. We have X Spaces, which is, thank you for reminding me on that, and that's also great content. We'll have actually some of that happening tonight. We're actually, Elon Musk will be speaking with Mark Penn, so that's actually happening on our platform tonight.
Pollster,
that's
who
correct.
Actually, I believe it was 2 years ago, was a guest on this very stage. So it all.
So there you go. It all comes full circle.
It all comes full circle. You mentioned XAI. What do your customers expect from AI I suppose you can answer that in two ways, right? Because you're talking to brands and you're also thinking about it from a customer perspective. What do they expect you to be doing with AI, and how are you delivering with that?
You know, for us on the platform, of course, partnership with XAI, we've put it in the form of Grok 3, which will be coming in this first quarter. Right now, it's free to every person who comes to X. I think it's about usability, making it very user-friendly for consumers to use and making it something that they can bring into their lives every single day. So that's how it is right now on the platform, and it's getting smarter and smarter. So that's where we're going with it. And it is getting very smart very quickly, and it just continues to be a burgeoning area.
Is it an interesting and maybe compelling branding challenge for you as a marketer to be the everything app? It's hard to figure out what the niche is, right? I think, who are you going after with the everything app?
Well, this is where, as a marketer, working with our CEO, Lindy Accarino, we really do want to put out a brand platform that is about this idea of everything in culture, everything that you need is on our platform. And this umbrella campaign of like Check X, that's where you come to get all of this information. And I think once we get this platform and this messaging seated, it'll all make sense. Whether it's technology, the innovation, or the messaging and the discourse, it'll all make sense. Because it is a lot to talk about, so it needs a little bit of some structure on how we do that, but we have a plan on how to do that.
Well, let's throw something else in the mix then, as far as everything goes. Shopping, and the intersection of shopping and media is a conversation we're having a lot here in the C-Space studio. How does that show up on X?
You know, shopping is great. This is where you have consumers with full attention on the platform. We now have an integration with Shopify, and this is a great place to actually capture those consumers while they're there. And this has actually been a great area of success with these small and medium businesses. And so this is an area of opportunity for these businesses to take advantage of. And this, again, is an area that we've regenerated the growth in this particular vertical, and we see more growth moving into the next year.
And I imagine there's potential integrations now or in the future with the content that you're having, the original shows. Someone sees something on a show they like, they can click on it, shop it, et cetera.
100%. I mean, it's just we're at the nascent area for all of this content creation, and again, wanting to rebuild all that again and really get this to get the fire burning again in all this area.
Do you think of consumer attention as a battle that you have to be fighting and winning? And if so, what's your mentality with that?
It is, because there's a lot of screens that people can be actually watching. I think the thing that makes it very interesting for X is that this is where actually people are having a conversation. It's all about engagement, to be honest. So you can be flipping through a lot of screens, but are you really engaging with that content? And so that's what we really love about X, is that people are actually taking the time to share and actually be part of that information sharing and that discourse. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's about how you're really deeply engaging and how you're sharing and replying, and that's where we think that we have a little bit different edge than some of the other platforms.
I have a question I'd like to ask people here, which is, what's something outside your industry that inspires you to innovate? And it's interesting to be the everything brand, right? Maybe there's nothing that's truly outside your purview, but what are some things in your life that inspire you to do the innovation that you do?
You know, I was in the automotive industry for a long time. That's where I was before. I was the chief marketing officer at Hyundai for about 5 years. And you know, that's an amazing industry. In fact, I was told that, you know, everyone who's in auto always goes back to it. And we'll see. But I was very inspired by our CEO. He's just been promoted, Jose Munoz, to the CEO and president globally. He's an amazing leader. That's an amazing company, a South Korean company that constantly innovates into electrification, hydrogen, and all kinds of amazing things. So I'm inspired by traditionally, I would say, like vertical industries that know how to break out of those traditional verticals and what they're doing. You know, being at X, it's a tech platform that's kind of expected to innovate, and I'm very inspired by traditional companies that learn how to innovate in spite of their traditional nature. And so I look to those leaders on how they break through those barriers.
What's been your biggest transition for you, going from cars to maybe something more conceptual with X?
You know, the biggest transition, I think, is just the rapid pace of change that happens every day on the platform. There's a lot of long lead things that happen in automotive. There's a lot of things that happen day to day too. You're running against sales goals that have to happen by, you know, the end of the month, and that happens every day. The same thing happens at X, so there's things that are similar but different, but I would say we react a lot to what happens on the platform every day. I would say that's the biggest difference. But in many ways, there's things that are very much the same. So I don't know if I've just been doing it a long time, but I always say it's the same, but it's a little bit different.
It's still about reaching the right people. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Angela Zepeda, Global Head of Marketing at X, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
And thank you so much for watching. This is the C Space Studio. We're at CES 2025 in our conversations with thought leaders on marketing, media, advertising, branding, and really the future of human connection will continue. So stay with us. From CES 2025, I'm James Kotecki.